The hurdles, the challenges that we face, and they're real, but if you're realistic about them, you can overcome them. So, it's all up to the gumption that you have, the drive that you have to change.
Welcome to the Covation Center podcast and the From Bars to Business series. This series focuses on the challenges of reentry for the justice involved and how businesses can benefit from hiring them and make a positive difference in their lives. This podcast is funded through a grant from the First Community Foundation Partnership of Pennsylvania. Abdul-Malik Walker talks about his experience as he returned to the workforce from his incarceration. Join us for Path to Redemption. Let's get talking. Welcome back to the From Bars to Business podcast. Today, I have a distinct pleasure to be able to talk to Abdul-Malik Walker. He's one of these great stories that I love to hear. We're calling this episode, we're already naming this episode Path to Redemption, and that comes from what he told me. Abdul, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
As we talk about this path, if you don't mind, let's start at the beginning. Really, what happened that got you as involved with the justice system so you become what we call justice involved?
Well, in my youth, I was a little wayward, making bad decisions one after another. And that led me to prison during a long stretch of time, 10 years. There was loss of life in my situation, so it was pretty serious. So I had to really take hold of this situation and address it to, change the path that I was on. Very destructive, just really aimless at that moment, looking for opportunities and not finding them. You get a little frustrated and try to take shortcuts. And them shortcuts landed me in the big house. So
and this was the state system, right?
Yes, this was the state system. And, so while you're there, they do provide programs, but it's really up to you to take the initiative to be in those programs, because especially in my case, having a 10-year sentence, your rehabilitation don't start until you're at the end of your sentence.
Oh, really? So
right.
You're there for 10 years. And you knew that going in, it was going to be at least 10, right?
Right.
The 10. And so if your rehabilitation doesn't start till the end, what do you do on this path to prepare for that end?
A lot of it is self-help, because for those of us that had longer sentences, we were pretty much put on the back burner. A lot of times people come into the prison system and they have to do programs in order to be paroled. They may already be past their parole eligibility date. So they are the priority. It's a big backlog. So the people who are passed or close, they're the priority to get the rehabilitation programs. So for the long-termers, oftentimes you get activities, basketball, you get a job. There's not much there for you unless you take your own initiative. Seeking trades, getting education, again, those things are prioritized for the short term. So you really have to push if you desire change. And, I knew from the moment I went in, I knew I desired change. Just from my incident, I desired change.
Absolutely.
It was unfortunate. I never meant it to happen. And, some things can't be replaced. So, having that in mind, it was my goal, my desire to change since I went immediately went in the system. So I sought those things that could help me. And there's a lot of people out there with the reentry providing resources to us. They're filling that void. And, it was during one of those occasions where I ran into Mr. Edie. He works with Careerlink. He has a mobile Careerlink unit, and as part of his outreach, he visits prisons and informs them of the opportunities, the programs, the resources, the support that is available for returning citizens. So that was very informative. I never missed an occasion when he came into my facility. If it was a repeat, I go repeat because I can talk to him again after class. So
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was able to build a rapport. I knew exactly the program that I wanted to pursue first.
Now, let's talk about that. So in the prisons, there are specific programs that you can, as you said, pursue. Now, they're different depending on the prison you're in, right?
Right. So not all prisons have the same trades, vocations, and rehabilitation programs. So depending on the prison you at, there's going to be a certain curriculum that's available. At my prison, I was able to take business education. After business education, I went on to take HVAC, and also as part of the reentry program, I was able to get CPR certified. During the activities department, I was able to get certified personal trainer. So you really have to invest in yourself because some of these things, cost money. And, 19 cents an hour as a prison wage, you really got to make sacrifices in order to pay for, your advancement. So, I was dedicated. I paid the cost. I tightened my belt so that I could have the opportunity to become a certified fitness trainer and to take my CPR class and all of those things that I was able to acquire while I was in prison, all of those things benefited me once I was released. So nothing really went, waste. Nothing went to waste because I came home. I was able to pursue on-the-job training through Careerlink with my HVAC certification. So that was a big help.
So as you're getting ready to get out of the system and re-enter, as you said, you have these skills, you've taken these classes, they're under your belt, and you were connected to Careerlink since while you were in when they would come out and visit. So you had that next step. What were some of the challenges that you did see though as you came out?
A lot of challenges that are going to confront returning citizens are, one, housing. Housing is a pretty big issue. A lot of guys are still, they actually end up doing more time than they're required because they don't have secured housing. So if you don't have a home plan, if you don't have someone willing to support you and when you're on your return, then you're forced to go to a halfway house or a CCC center. And oftentimes, parole might actually deny your parole based on your lack of support, because they see that as a quick avenue to recidivism. So if you don't have support, then you're going to pretty much fall back into crime. So maybe they give you more time in jail to do more outreach. So parole do have a logic frame of thought when they deny people for not having a home plan. But, the guys who do get to the halfway house, that's another challenge in itself. Myself, I was fortunate enough to come home to my family. I had their support and, without it, I don't know if I could have made the leaps as quick as I was able to make them. So, I would like to hope that I would have got here eventually, but definitely with the support, I was able to move faster, and that kept me on track, putting one foot in front of the other.
So As you're talking about this, and you mentioned the parole board and so forth, we actually haven't talked about this. Are you on parole, or did you serve the full term and you are essentially done?
I made my minimum sentence. So I made my minimum. I did 10 years. My first time seeing the parole board, they evaluated me and they paroled me. I was so thankful. So I'm still currently on parole. I report to my parole agent as scheduled once a month. I've been employed the whole time. I've definitely followed my parole agent's advice, direction.
That's awesome.
In order. So yeah, I'm definitely positive parole life.
We're gonna hear more in an episode later on in this series about someone who was on the other side of the fence. She was a correctional officer and then now works for Careerlink, actually. And she talks about the fact that parolees are some of the best candidates for jobs because of everything that you've gone through. That you talked about, you're motivated, you take the classes, you do the things, right? You do all the things. So that gets you to coming out. You made parole. You have a home care plan or home plan, so you're out, and now you connect up with Careerlink. And you mentioned OJT, and we're going to be talking in greater depth with Careerlink in a podcast about those types of programs. But how did the OJT on-the-job training program work for you? And then we'll talk about how it works for the business.
Yeah, OJT was a blessing. A lot of times people who say, oh, they want a job, in jail you work for 19 cents an hour. So, a lot of guys say, I come home, I'll take anything. But in actuality, you need a living wage. You need to have a living wage. So OJT really allowed me to acquire the ability to get a job with a livable wage. So that was a great hurdle for me to have to overcome, and Careerlink helped me. OJT.
Now, really quickly, the OJT program, for those that are hearing it for the first time, before we get into the next podcast where we talk about it, OJT is where the state helps subsidize the pay for someone like yourself. The state will cover or reimburse half of the pay for the first 6 months to the business that hires the individual. So we'll cover more of that in another podcast. But I just wanted to insert that really quickly, Abdul. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's important information because, coming from prison, I had no prior HVAC experience. I picked it up in prison. I learned my trade. I acquired a number of certificates inside the field. I really was motivated. So I have a number of certificates. But when I face to face with an employer, experience in the trade field speaks a lot more than certification. So lacking that experience, I wasn't the ideal candidate. With my background, I wasn't the ideal candidate. Sometimes you need your own tools for these particular jobs. I didn't have that ability to provide my own tools. So the OJT program, subsidizing half my check, really allowed the employer to, have some benefits while assuaging the risk. So I think that, my particular employer, the Schoonovers, they're a family business, and they had family values. So when they it was like they took me into their family. So that's I really appreciated that they provided me with some tools that I could use, during the daily course of my job duties. And, I actually, I thought I was going to be there forever. So I got a better job. So,
and I want to stop there for a second. One of the concerns that I might personally have is that a business will, and I'm going to put this in air quotes. You can see it, but the audio listeners can't. But that the business would hire you for the 6 months and then let you go, right? Because they're going to take advantage of that 6 month period. But they kept you on. You stayed a number of months after that, and they would have kept you on further. But you got a better job.
So I had the same fears that you had. Man, they're going to get rid of me after 6 months. So I was definitely, still, looking for backup plans and that I got a second job, to insulate me against that. As it turned out, my second job turned into a greater opportunity. And I was also able to start my own company, my own CPR company, Collective Wellness. And, again, times we just don't know if they're going to keep us on after those 6 months. So that's they don't have to. It's not written in stone. But as a good employee that shows up every day with my work ethic, I was able to not only complete the 6 months, but I was on even past no talk of letting me go. I think I left after a total of 9 months when I got a better opportunity.
So, you started your own business, and that's really kind of cool too, because that goes all the way back to the fact you took business courses. And
Right.
Here at the Covation Center, we're all about helping people start businesses. In fact, we have a video series on starting a small business on YouTube for anybody that wants to watch it. As you go through this, and you were getting that first job, what advice would you give to a business? What should they be asking you as you're coming out on parole and they're looking to hire you? What things should I be looking for in a parolee or someone who's justice involved?
The easiest way you can be able to gauge a parolee that's applying for a position at your job is the same criteria you would give to a potential employee who came off the street who wasn't a parolee. You have to see if they're motivated, if they're dedicated, what kind of work ethic do they have. Parolees do have more of an incentive to keep their job because it's also a job requirement. And when you're weighing the risk versus the harm, there are more benefits that'll help an employer be insulated against any risk they may conceive. Parolees are federally bondable, so you can get a federal bond to help insulate you against any risk that you may conceive. You get tax benefits for hiring someone. There's programs that are subsidized the check, so you can get a half-price employee for 6 months. So there is benefits for the employer to take the risk in hiring parolees because the risk can be minimized. But as I said in the beginning, you really want to give them the same criteria you giving any potential employee that you want to hire on to your company, because that is your company. I'm speaking like as a family company because I came from Schoonovers. But if you're in a corporation company, Rite Aid or Giant, or if you're hiring for a bigger corporation, then you still would use the same criteria that you would use for any potential employee. This is a fair shake, and that's all they really need, because parole is a mandate that you have to have a job. So they do have that driving incentive. So that'll help them get to work, but there are other incentives that benefit the employer as well.
I appreciate the point that you're making, and I've heard several others make, which is, you know what? You need to be this diligent every time you hire, not just if you're hiring justice involved. And If anything, this will help you be a little more diligent, a little more careful, just in hiring everybody, a better hiring practice across the board. Now, you have started your own business. For those of us that can see the video, it's got it over your shoulder there, Collective Wellness. It's KALLECTIVE Wellness. And I believe it's collectivewellness.com, right?
Yes, it is. Collectivewellness.com.
What is Collective Wellness, and what's your mission for your business? Let's talk about that for a minute, about your future and how you've created a job for yourself.
Well, coming from my background, I definitely wanted to start a company that would have, some type of redeeming quality in the work that we do. And at Collective Wellness, we teach people how to save lives. So, that is quite a redeeming quality for me. It definitely interested me. I was able to get my hands into the field beyond the fence, actually. In prison, I took my base level CPR class. So coming home, I did see an opportunity to further my credentials with the first aid field. And, I jumped on it. And, currently we have a training site at the Pajama Factory. The Pajama Factory is a great incubator for new businesses. We have a nice, large training site where we conduct American Red Cross training classes. We also do American Heart Association training classes. We do BLS, first aid, CPR, AED, babysitters training. We do wilderness training, and we just got certified to do EMR for emergency medical responders. So soon we'll be training first responders to ride on back in the ambulance, which is a great career. So we're really just trying to, provide a resource to the community, especially after COVID. The hospital was the largest CPR instructor facility in our area. They have since quit making the classes available for the public, and they're only for the employees. So there was also a community void that we wanted to fill. And, we've been going pretty strong, not too much locally. So we do want to get some more local work, but Red Cross has been sending us, 200-mile radius. That's what we cover. So we be on the outskirts of the radius time. But we would like to get some more local work. And we did have a couple church partnerships that we were able to, give instruction to the church leadership. So we definitely try, because not only we're a for-profit company, but we're also a for-benefit company. So we definitely want to look for ways to give back towards our community. And, sometimes as a CPR is a work requirement, and not everybody might be able to afford to go to the Red Cross to get a full fee class. So we do offer discounted rates for people who are economically for the broke people.
Yeah, for people who may not be able to afford it, you have options.
Anybody for the economically disadvantaged, we would like to, make sure that they could at least get their, maintain their employment or get that job that they need. So, we really do take pride in, offering this service. Like I said, and, I told you before that, that I'm on a path, man. And the path of redemption is a path that you take without knowing if you're going to get there. So
this really is about a journey for you. Right.
Everything is full circle. Like I said, CPR began when I was behind bars and is still perpetuating now. We really just want to have an impact, a positive impact. That's the only way to put distance between the negative impact that we have, or counteract the negative impact that we had. So that's my goal. That's the direction that I'm headed, and that's the journey that I'm on.
I love hearing. Let me rephrase that, and I'm going to leave this in the way I just said that, because I don't mean I love hearing the whole story. I'm as saddened as you are about what happened a number of years ago. I appreciate your story, and that you've taken something that decisions you made that were bad decisions, and you've taken this path to redeem yourself, this path of redemption, and going through work, taking advantage of growing yourself, but then giving back. And I love the giving back. I will encourage anyone to visit collectivewellness.com. That's KALLECTIVE wellness.com. It's a great website, by the way. I love that I can book online. That's pretty awesome. And you've got a great site there, especially if somebody's in the Williamsport area. But if not, I believe you actually have a couple things that people could just buy on the shop there.
T-shirts with our name on it. Keychains, CPR face barriers are inside the keychain so that you're able to respond at any moment in public and still have your PPE. And we're also on Facebook, Collective Wellness. We're on Facebook also.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing this story, sharing your path with us. And we do wish you all the best as you continue this journey.
Thank you. If there's anything that I can say to anyone coming home as a returned citizen is, the hurdles, the challenges that we face, and they're real. But if you're realistic about them, you can overcome them. So, it's all up to the gumption that you have, the drive that you have to change. And to the people who come in contact with returning citizens, I just like to say that, there's still people. Everybody makes mistakes and deserve second chances. So you don't have to look the other way. But if you take a good look, then you could be able to judge if that person is serious and sincere about what they're saying and the path that they're on, because change does happen. So, I just wanted to throw that out there, man. And I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to, speak up and speak to those who may need some encouragement or who may need some information. So I really do appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate your being willing and open and sharing with us and encouraging words that you've just ended with. Thank you again for joining us. I really do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Hopefully you found it informative, and please listen to the remaining parts of this multi-part series as we explore the ways businesses can be successful in hiring and providing support for justice-involved individuals. We encourage you to check out the other resources the Covation Center has for small business owners. Visit our website at covationcenter.org and be sure to watch our video series on YouTube. Just search for Covation Center. We provide various videos designed to help you start and grow your small business. Until next time, have a great day.